Welcome back to Coding with Qiskit. I'm your host, Derek Wang, and this is episode 5 on contributing to Qiskit. Today, we have a very special guest, Abby Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Abby. I've been involved with open source Qiskit things for about the past 4 years now.
So Qiskit 1.0 is an open source SDK, so community contributions are crucial for the long-term health of this project. But how can you do this exactly?
Well, there are two main types of contributions that we really recommend if you are a regular user of Qiskit. Option number 1 is, as a user, you can contribute directly to the Qiskit package itself. And option number 2 is contributing to the broader Qiskit ecosystem, either by supporting other open source packages that depend on Qiskit, or through open sourcing a project of your own that uses Qiskit.
I see. So maybe we should start with the first option. How can we contribute to the Qiskit package itself?
Yeah, so let's start by going to GitHub and checking out the Qiskit GitHub repository.
Sure, let's do that. So GitHub Qiskit, from the first episode, we already have it open, and it's this one, right?
Yes, exactly. So this is kind of the main homepage of the Qiskit repository, and let's start by going to the Issues tab there.
All right, the Issues tab.
So this is where you can see all the open kind of to-do list items for work that is going on in Qiskit. And as a user, some of the most valuable contributions that you can make are through opening new issues, either to report a bug or request a feature. So let's click that big green new issue button there and have a look at what we've got.
I see.
So here you'll see you already have some kind of templates set out for how to make these different types of contributions.
Okay, so what makes a good bug report?
Great question. So yeah, let's start by clicking on that issue template here. The main thing to remember when giving a bug report is be as specific as you can. So what Qiskit version are you using? What Python version? What operating system? What exactly is happening? The Qiskit maintainers will want to see that they can easily reproduce the bug so that they know how to fix it, essentially. So this is why this issue template has like a lot of questions, and we really encourage you to put as much detail as you can to give a good bug report, basically.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. Cool. So you mentioned that there's a second way that I can contribute to Qiskit directly by filing an issue, and so that's the feature request. Can you tell me more about what makes a good feature request?
Yeah, exactly. Let's click on the big green Get Started button for the feature request. And you can see this form is a lot less kind of regimented than the bug report one. It's a lot more free form. And really what we're looking for here is, again, detail, but particularly we're looking for the why. Like, why is this feature important, not just to you, but to the broader community of Qiskit users? Is it something that just isn't available in Qiskit at all right now? Or it is available, but it could be improved somehow like that? And generally, you also just want to be aware that just because you make a feature request isn't a guarantee that it will actually get implemented. The maintainers might, sometimes say, thank you, but no thank you. This feature doesn't really fit within the scope of what Qiskit is right now.
I see. And as someone who doesn't know necessarily about what does or does not fit, how do I know that scope?
That it's always fine to ask the question. That's why we encourage people to open an issue before they actually make a contribution, if they want to request a new feature, rather than going straight out the gate with making a pull request. And, no one is ever going to, think badly of you for requesting something that, we just can't provide. And by asking the question, you should be able to get more of an engagement from the maintainers, who will be able to give you some discussion around the issue and tell you why something does or does not fit the scope of what Qiskit is trying to be. And if your feature does not fit within the scope, that is actually a perfect opportunity for you to then take that idea and maybe create your own open source project and contribute back to that broader Qiskit ecosystem.
So we'll definitely talk about the Qiskit ecosystem later on, but I guess digging a little bit more into how we can contribute to Qiskit base itself. So you talked about different ways of filing issues, but I see that there's actually a lot of issues that already exist here, yeah. 741 of them. Maybe we can click on this tab and kind of explore this a little bit. There's 741 issues. How do I make my way through all of them?
Yeah, so you are also very welcome, as well as opening new issues, to ask to, start working on some of these existing ones as well. If you are new to the repository, we do recommend that you start with certain types of issues first. So one type of issues to get started with are called good first issues. So if you go to that label drop down
this one here,
there and you find a label called good first issue.
right there.
Yeah. And you can filter by that, and you'll see all of the issues that the maintainers have specifically tagged as ideal for people that are new to the repository. These ones, they might not be, easy, but they are at least the best scoped and kind of more like on the smaller side. And these are the ones that you want to, get started with. You might even want to do 2 or 3 good first issues before you move on to other things, but these are the ones you should definitely start off with.
Okay.
And then once you feel comfortable with tackling these good first issues and you want to step things up a bit, you can find another label to filter by called Help Wanted.
Help wanted, right. Oops, here.
Yeah. And these ones are typically much more challenging. They maybe, or maybe not so much more challenging, but maybe a little bit less well scoped. There's still some discussion that needs to happen there. You might still need to go back and forth with the maintainers about, exactly what is the best way to implement this. And what's important to notice about these are that they don't have a hard deadline. So, as a newer contributor, you can take as much time as you want to kind of work through these because they're not, a super high priority. They're more of a nice to have for the repo.
So that's a lot of information overall, I think, in contributing. I see that there's this contributing guidelines here. Do you think that's a good place to start to learn about all this?
You should absolutely, and this is a good rule for any open source contribution that you want to do across any repo, not just Qiskit. Always make sure before you find an issue that you want to work on that you go look at the contributing guideline and you read through it, make sure that you are kind of aware of all the different pieces there. This is the core piece of documentation that teaches you how to choose issues to work on, how to set up your local environment, how to do all the various different things that are specifically required for making a good contribution to this repo. So yes, absolutely make sure you've bookmarked this page and that you're referring back to it throughout your kind of open source journey, really.
Cool. Thanks so much, Abby. That was really helpful. So that's the first way of contributing to Qiskit, right? Directly addressing issues, making issues. But then you mentioned a second way. So let's talk about that, supporting the Qiskit ecosystem itself. How can I support the Qiskit ecosystem? And what is that?
Yeah, sure. So I think the easiest way is to just show you the Qiskit ecosystem first of all. So let's go to the Qiskit ecosystem now.
Just type that here.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So here now on the screen, you can see a list of all the open source projects, some of which that are created and maintained by people at IBM Quantum, and quite a few that are also maintained by the broader open source community. And this page just shows you everyone that has joined the ecosystem. You can see what their repositories are. Sometimes they'll have documentation attached to it. Sometimes they'll have research papers. And if you click on these links, for example, you could just find maybe, let's go to the Qiskit IBM runtime,
Sure, yeah. We've used this a lot in the past videos of this series.
Yeah. So if you go here, then you'll be able to see their GitHub repository. They should have some instructions on how to install the project, and yeah.
Okay, super cool. So you can just pip install this. Is that the same for all packages, or would that be different?
No, some of them might have different ways of installing. That's why you should always check out the README to get, the most up-to-date information for that specific project.
I see. And can I contribute to these projects the same way that I would contribute to Qiskit, or is it different as well?
Yeah, kind of broadly speaking, certain projects, are more active than others. Some of them do accept open source contributions, some of them don't. So the best rule of thumb is to go to that repository, look at their contributing guidelines, and that should give you some idea of what type of contributions they're accepting and how to go about doing that if you're interested.
I see.
And if you want to make open source contributions to individual projects, you can definitely do that. Another option for generally contributing to the Qiskit ecosystem is to create your own project, open source it, and then submit it to join the Qiskit ecosystem. And I believe you have a project that you have prepared earlier that you would like to demo to our audience, going through the process of open sourcing it and putting it in the ecosystem.
Yes, exactly. So in my own research, right, I do a lot of simulations of natural systems, and now we're looking into algorithms that basically use a lot of these dynamic circuit operations, the most simplest being the reset operation. And what we found as we've created these circuits is that some of the transpilation tools that already exist, they don't do quite what we need them to do. So I started building a very, very simple transpilation plugin to do this, and maybe I can quickly demo it now, and then you can tell us how I can push this into the ecosystem so other people can contribute to this project as well.
That would be great. And especially Qiskit transpiler plugins are really, really valuable ecosystem projects. And by putting it into the ecosystem, it should also help you get more exposure and help it kind of get more discovered by the rest of the community as well. So yeah, this is a great project.
Okay, cool. So I guess I can show a quick little demo on how this works here. I won't go through exactly how I coded it up, but I follow the tutorials that are on the Qiskit documentation website.
We'll put links in the description for that.
Yeah, so I built this thing here. But the idea is that, looking at this notebook that I created to show it off, basically, is that sometimes you create circuits in which you have several resets in a row. So you do a measurement, and then depending on whether it's a 0 or 1, you might do an X gate or not. And it turns out that if you look at how the current transpiler looks at this circuit, once you put this quantum circuit that has multiple resets in a row into the transpiler, what comes out is these are not merged. But they should be, right? Because when you turn this into a 0 state, there's no need to do another reset on it. And so in some situations, you want to merge them to shorten the depth of the circuit. It turns out that even if you use this pass that already exists called remove reset in 0 state, it doesn't quite do this yet. And then from here, it can kind of serve as the foundation for transpilers for dynamic circuits in general. So what I did was I followed the documentation linked here, and I created a new pass in a package I call Dynasur for dynamic circuits. And it's this collect resets method here. And what it does is now that I put that circuit that had the 2 resets into it, it turns it into just 1. And I also converted it into a plugin that I uploaded onto GitHub and open sourced. And so you can pip install it, and once you do that, you can show that now it shows up actually as an optimization plugin. You can see there's the default and then the one that I created. So I guess my question now is, well, did I open source it properly? And then how do I actually push it to the Qiskit ecosystem so that more people can work on it and improve it and make it more robust for more people?
Great. So first of all, let's have a look at your GitHub repo first, and let's have a look at what's going on there.
Sure. So let's click on this.
Great. Okay, so generally this is looking pretty good. I would say the two, firstly, you've put the code out there on GitHub. It's publicly available. That's almost like, that's step one of your open source kind of journey, and you've done that great. The second thing is, let's have a look here. You have a README. That's great. You're telling people what your project does, how to install it. Got a little example here. That's perfect. A README is a super important piece to add to your open source project. And the next thing is you have a license as well. Choosing a license for your open source project is usually a good idea. There are a couple of different ones out there that are pretty common. Apache 2.0 is pretty common. We'll put some links in the description for more detail about choosing licensing. And overall, yeah, this is looking like a pretty good project. The next step would be now is to kind of just submit it to the Qiskit ecosystem. To do that, we need to go to the Qiskit ecosystem GitHub repository, which should be, go back to this page and there, add your project. If you click that link, it will take you directly to the ecosystem repo. And if you scroll down to the README of this repo, this gives you some information about what the ecosystem is, how to join it, what the criteria are, things like that. But you're with me, so I already know how to do it. The main thing that you essentially just have to do is open a GitHub issue, and we already know how to do that because we just went through it earlier.
GitHub.
And in this repo, you have, if you click that green issue button, you have a project submission template right there.
Cool. Okay.
And so what we are going to do here is just fill out this form with all the details that it is asking for. And then once you submit this issue, then the maintainers of the Qiskit ecosystem will review that submission request. They might have some more questions for you. And then once they've approved it, it will officially join the ecosystem, and you'll be able to see it on that ecosystem website, and more people will be able to find your plugin, start using it, and see how to contribute to it as well.
Cool. Can I try to do this now, actually? See if we can
Yeah,
get through
let's do
them?
it.
Okay,
Go for
let's do
it.
So I'll put in the submission title in here, Dinosaur,
Yes.
a transpiler plugin for dynamic circuits, project name, Dinosaur, and I'll get the link right here. Paste that in. A couple of sentences. Maybe I'll just...
For this, you might just want to choose the description that you have in your GitHub repo.
This one right
Yeah,
here.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'll just steal that from
This is the
there.
text that will show up on the website, so there should be, you want to reduce the amount of characters there. Yeah, keep it under 30 words, I think the recommendation is.
Yep, that's quick. Look at the preview. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll skip the email, the alternatives to this project, not that I know of at the moment. Any organizations? I guess IBM Quantum, since that's where I work. It's a transpiler plugin, indeed. Any labels?
So these are if you want to attach a specific domain or application that is specifically relevant for your project, or people who might want to use your project, might be looking for certain categories of projects. So putting an accurate label on your project is helpful for helping people find your project easier.
Okay, so I'll click on transpiler plugin, and maybe I can also click on prototype since it is very early, and optimization because it's part of the optimization layer in the transpiler. And then project documentation website. I guess I can skip that because I already put it in the GitHub.
Yeah, these are generally for maybe slightly more advanced projects. Some of them are more relevant to a specific paper, or they have their own website or everything. But yours is definitely a much more kind of early stage project.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just submit it here. Okay, submit, and fingers crossed that someone will let it through. If not, then I guess we'll have dialogue here to figure out whether it belongs and how I can make it ready to go into Qiskit ecosystem.
Absolutely.
So at this point, am I done open sourcing my project? Is it open sourced?
I mean, I would say yes. You've done like kind of the bare minimum, in my opinion, to get it open source. But you're never really done with open sourcing something. You've really just kind of started your process. I think your plugin is going to be super useful for people, but there's probably things that can definitely be improved about it. You can add tests. You need to add a contributing guidelines if you want to encourage more contributors. I think there's generally things you could do to make it a bit more robust and an even better project in the future. But you've definitely made a good crack at starting your journey for sure.
Yeah. So I guess open sourcing isn't something you just do once, right? It's a project that you have to maintain and take care of and improve over time.
You can definitely archive projects as well. If just because you decide now that you're going to open source something doesn't necessarily mean that you are committed to keeping this project alive until the end of time. But if you are, serious about putting it out there, you should be committed to, fixing bugs and at least trying to make it better, or putting it into kind of an archive state or a maintenance mode state if you're deciding you're not going to work on it significantly going forward.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much. That's really helpful. Okay, so we might not be done with our open source project, but we're done with today's video. Today we talked about all the different ways to contribute to Qiskit, solving issues, submitting feature requests, filing bug reports, and contributing to the Qiskit ecosystem. As an example, I built a small tool for transpiling dynamic circuits and submitted it to the Qiskit ecosystem. Feel free to build on our work or something of your own and push it there when you're ready.
And make sure to always be kind and respectful when engaging with other open source contributors online so that we can build a welcoming and thriving open source quantum community. Also comment below if you have any questions about contributing to Qiskit or any ideas you might have.
Thanks for watching the series. Let us know below what you'd like to learn more about in future videos or maybe even another season of Coding with Qiskit. And of course, like and subscribe.
Bye.